All right, it's draft time. Let's have some fun. Let's get a little competitive too. We'll see who has a better team at the end of things. But it's going to be since the year 2000, our top 5 New York Giants draft. And you'll let us know who has the better team. We'll kind of think about it at the end. Obviously, bias is going to be included because we're going to both think we have the best team. But anyway, without further ado, we don't know who's getting the first pick. So who else to determine that? But a nice coin toss, and Siri will be doing the honors of the coin toss. I'll ask Siri right now. Heads or tails? Alex, I'll give you the honor of selecting your pick, Alex. Heads or tails?
Ooh, I'll go tails.
Siri, heads or tails? It's going to be heads. I'm not lying to you about that. That's what my camera can focus. You can already see my list. Let me close that list, but you could tell it was heads there. Oh, now it's gone. Well, anyway, it was heads. I will go first. I feel like there's no better player that's going to be on this list from the year 2000 on. It's got to be the unanimous first pick. If Alex gives me a face, then I'm losing my mind. Eli Manning is the pick. The entire 16-year career with the New York Giants, a 4-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, and a future Hall of Famer. It's Eli Manning. He's my pick number 1 in this draft. Alex, I send it to you.
Yeah, I think the first 2 picks here are pretty obvious. Number 2 pick, it's got to be Michael Strahan. 22 and a half sacks. Still hasn't been beaten. I know now it's been tied by TJ Watt. Just an absolute beast. Probably the 3rd greatest Giant of all time. Obviously, LT is not up for grabs in this particular draft, but
he would be Michael the first Strahan. Pick, I would say, if we were going to choose over Eli Manning. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. But then there would be a ton of people, and then we'd have to delve into the guys who were playing in the 50s and the 30s, and it would have been a whole big thing. So, 2000s wise, Michael Strahan was absolutely dominant, and then has actually had a great post career as well, obviously in the broadcasting, sports media realm. So, just an overall great guy. And great football player and great personality as well. So not that really matters for the draft. Just wanted to point it out. But yeah, Michael Strahan, he's my second pick.
Or your first pick.
Yeah, second pick overall.
7-time Pro Bowler and a Hall of Famer already. I have number 3 here. I'm not going to use it right now on my list. I think I'm going to be able to swoop and take him, hopefully, in the next round. But in round 2, I'm going to take Osi Umenyiora, the 2-time Super Bowl champion for the New York Giants, a first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro twice. He's been on that side, and also a 2-time Pro Bowler. Again, was a wrecking ball on that defense for the New York Giants during those Super Bowl years. So I'm going to pick him in my second pick. I think he's a little bit kind of under the radar, a little underrated in this list. So that's why I kind of want to get him here at pick number 2 for me.
Yeah, that was a good selection because I was planning on taking him with my 3rd pick. But I will take this guy instead, who I was still planning on taking. I'm going Justin Tuck. Really dominant player in his time. 2 Super Bowls, obviously. Giants Ring of Honor member. 2-time Pro Bowler, which I guess is kind of disrespectful given his career. 66 and a half sacks throughout his whole career. Played, I believe it was 8 years with the Giants, then had that 1 year with the Raiders, which was really disconcerting, but we won't talk about that. Just a really dominant player, kind of the heir to Michael Strahan, if you want to put it that way. And I think a lot of people did put it that way. A really dominant player in his time. And I think, got to bolster, if you ever wanted to bolster that defensive line, Justin Tuck was just absolutely dominant. And I'm very happy with that selection.
Yeah, let's take a bow for that one. The next one on our list, or on my list, and my 3rd pick, I knew he was going to fall here because, well, a lot of people aren't going to agree with me with this one. It was a player that was with the team in the early 2000s. He's not going to get the recognition for the Super Bowls because, the whole thing is he quit just a little too early. And that is Tiki Barber, the 1-time first-team All-Pro. He is a 3-time Pro Bowler. And although he missed out on the Super Bowls by getting out of the Giants in 2006, he is still a New York Giants Ring of Honor member. And I think people might have forgotten, because he left on the team, how good Tiki Barber really was at the running back position. Just a versatile player. And the best running back the New York Giants had until Saquon Barkley, Alex, and later in the late 2010s. So a whole decade later. Tiki Barber is my third pick here. And I'm really happy I got him in round 3. I'm not going to say I think it's a steal. I think it's the right place where he should be. But I just don't think people are going to really value him in this draft. You're looking after 2000 because people are just going to, think about Super Bowl winners. So that's where I kind of changed it up with him. Alex, your third round pick.
Yeah, that was going to be my pick right there.
Oh, wow.
Not
okay.
that surprising, actually. He was my next selection. But because you selected him, Josh, I'm going to go to the receiver position. I got 2 defensive linemen, obviously, as my first 2 picks. And I'm going to move to the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, lots of great receivers for the Giants. So everyone's wondering, who am I talking about? Well, I'm going to go with the guy who holds the Giants record for most receiving yards in a Giants player's career. There we go. Best way to put it. I'm going Amani Toomer. 9,400 yards, almost 9,500 yards. Super Bowl champion, Ring of Honor member. Obviously, a really, really important piece in the beginning of Eli Manning's career with the Giants as that reliable guy before transition to Plaxico Burress and then Hakeem Nicks and then eventually OBJ later in his career. So a lot of dominant receivers for the Giants in this 2000s period, but I think the numbers don't lie. Amani Toomer leads the Giants in receiving yards. He had over 50 touchdowns. He had over 650 receptions, and he really did everything for the Giants as that lead number 1 alpha receiver. So I really, really like this pick. I think there's a number of ways you could go, and I think Josh is probably going to go different receivers after this or whatever he's going to do, but we'll have to wait and see what he does.
Well, I got a grin on my face because I know I'm stealing one of your favorites right now, and I'm really happy about it. It's one of my favorites, too, and it's a receiver you didn't mention, I know, for a specific reason because you thought it was going to just kind of float under the water there. Yeah, don't worry. It's not floating anywhere because I'm taking it right out of the water. The fish in the sea is Victor Cruz, the Super Bowl champion. Let me salsa it up right now. I would. If I
didn't think you were going to take him. I didn't think you were going to take him.
I knew you were going to, so I have to pull some steals. It's a draft after all, The 2-time All-Pro, a Pro Bowler as well, 4,500 receiving yards in his career. In the early 2010s, he was a beast. Actually, not so much in that Super Bowl season. It was kind of the season and the one after that in like 2012 and 2013 that he kind of had his prime. But again, still a part in the Giants Super Bowl win. And I'm taking him in round 4. Disappointing, Alex. We love that. We got to play spoiler sometimes. And that is a receiver that I take in round 4. Maybe another one in round 5. But let's see who Alex picks. That's going to obviously determine who my final pick is.
Yeah, that's reasonably upsetting. All right, I'm a little bit thrown off now, but I'm going to stick to my list. I'm sticking to my big board, Josh. I'm sticking to my big board. I'm going to go receiver again. I think there's just so many good receivers here for the Giants. I'm going to go Plaxico Burress. Obviously shot himself, which is a little bit of a detriment to everything that happened for his career, but not with the Giants for a super long time, only like 4 seasons, I want to say. 2005, 2008. 8,500 receiving yards in his career, Super Bowl champion, obviously Super Bowl winning catch for Eli Manning. Was that kind of I guess with Amani Toomer at that time, that big receiving threat at 6'5", 230 during his career. He was a beast, and obviously some outside off the field stuff kind of were detrimental to his career. But in terms of pure talent as a receiver, I think Plaxico's up there as one of the best the Giants have ever had.
And I'm going to have, for my final pick, we're going to go back on defense. I was going to do an offensive player. I was looking at Hakeem Nicks. I was looking at David Tyree, but I feel like he's just known for one catch. So maybe, I don't know if that throws off Alex's list if he says it in the final pick. I'm going to go JPP. Jason Pierre-Paul is my final pick. I'm going to swoop and get him. I think that's a nice steal kind of late here. It's like a steal, but it's also the perfect place for him in round 5, I would say. A Super Bowl champion with the Giants in the 2012 Super Bowl. He also was a first-team All-Pro, a 2-time Pro Bowler, and also had a little bit of a, I don't know if like resurgence is the right word, but towards the end of his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, getting a Super Bowl with them. And in 2020 was a Pro Bowler again. So kind of in the latter years of his career, got some headlines once again. But JPP was a reliable player coming off the edge. He was able to get some sacks in there. Another really fun player. You just talked about a player shooting himself in the foot. He blew off a couple fingers with some fireworks. So we have some guys who are definitely interesting characters, to say the least, with interesting histories outside of the game. But inside of the game, with a taped hand or not, JPP was a very good player for this Giants team. And I really liked watching him play. I remember number 90 was someone I definitely looked out for on the defense when I was younger. And I always loved watching him. So Alex might have taken Tuck, but I took the guy right kind of beside him, I remember, during the early 2010s in JPP. At my final pick, we'll go through, obviously, how our drafts went at the end. But Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm really struggling here with the last pick. There's a lot of options. I mean, you're not picking again, so I'll run through my options.
Go for it.
Obviously, Kadarius Toney is my first option, of course. But
good joke.
Yeah,
good joke.
No, hilarious. In all seriousness, I'm kind of torn between Hakeem Nicks and another guy who I think you're going to be very surprised I'm about to say. But
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all, Alex. You know why? Because I know that the amount of crap you talk about him, you still like him in the end.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
And I think there's also a case for Saquon Barkley. I think there's a case for him. But I can't do that. Can't do that. The thing with OBJ, obviously, is he's a much more talented player than Hakeem Nicks, which I think everyone in the world will agree. I think he's the most talented receiver the Giants have ever had. Now, is he the best receiver? You think
Hakeem Nicks?
No, OBJ.
OBJ. Sorry.
Yeah, OBJ. No, OBJ, I think, is the most talented receiver the Giants have ever had. But I think in terms of
athleticism, I think, yeah, definitely. And in terms of athleticism, I mean, the guy could move better than any other player I probably could see at that time. I mean, that 2016 year was something I've never seen out of a receiver when it came to cutting, speed, just like a complete athletic package. Yes, I agree with that.
I also think there's.
Are you going to take him though?
I think there's a couple of cases for some of the offensive linemen too. David Deal.
I was waiting for you to say David Deal too, so I know you like.
But O-line is boring, and this is an all-time draft, and I'm definitely going to lose if I select David Deal. So I'm going Hakeem Nicks because I don't need any OBJ haters hating on me. So Hakeem Nicks, obviously Super Bowl champion in 2011. 2 stints with the Giants, which is kind of weird. I don't know if you remember that, Josh, but he came back for a hot sec and then dipped again. But another really great receiver, another really big receiver. He was drafted to replace Plaxico Burress in 2009 after his whatever you want to call it. And had a really good career with the Giants. Had almost 1,000-yard seasons at least. 2010, 2011, he had over 1,000 yards, over 10 touchdowns. So a really successful player in that part of his career. Obviously, it started to dwindle down towards the end when he left the Giants and went to Indianapolis and then came back to the Giants. But that 2009 to 2011 period, he was up there as one of the best receivers in the league. And I think outside of the Giants community, he's probably not as, respected, well-known as one of those all-time great receivers. But for us, I think he's a really elite talent. And I know I'm going 3 receivers here, but it is what it is. I think the receiver position was kind of that main spot where a lot of our talent was in the early 2000s, which is why it's been so frustrating in recent years that the Giants have just not been able to figure that position out since OBJ.
And Alex, I mean, obviously, down the stretch in the playoffs, like you were saying, Hakeem Nicks made some absolutely spectacular plays.
Absolutely.
Everyone looks at the Super Bowl, to toe tap. But, I mean, that guy is absolutely tremendous when he did play. Okay, so it's that time now. I guess we'll go through our drafts and make our pick ourselves if we can get our bias heads out of the game here and kind of make our selections. And then, obviously, let us know in the comments, whatever it is. I'm sure I'll put some polls out on social media. We'll kind of figure out who had the best one here. But all right, with the first pick, I obviously selected Eli Manning. My draft. So let's go through. My draft looks like this: Eli Manning, first pick; Osi Umenyiora, second pick; Tiki Barber, third pick; Victor Cruz, fourth pick; Jason Pierre-Paul with my fifth pick. Alex.
All right, so first round, Strahan, Second, Justin Tuck. Third, Amani Toomer. Fourth, Plaxico Burress. And 5, Hakeem Nicks. It's interesting because like I feel like we built very different teams, or like different not teams. I know I'm saying teams, but like in terms of the
different
players, the content of the team. Well, I guess I got Strahan, Tuck, and you've got OC and JPP. I think I win that for sure. But then you have who are your other? You have Eli Manning, obviously, which is like
I always have Eli Manning, and I
Eli
think
Manning.
for Cruz, Alex.
Wait, who's your fifth?
I'm gonna JPP.
No,
Barber.
But you had Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber.
Alex, I think I'll give you the win here. I do. I think I'll give you the win. I think with Justin Tuck, that was really good. Match that up with Strahan. You got 2 back-to-back really good players. Maybe I messed mine up a little bit taking OC there because I had Justin Tuck right at my.
I was going to take him right after. I was going to take him third. That was where I had him.
Yeah, well, listen, fair game. I mean, I think
I don't know. I like. I mean, Eli just puts a big strain on it. So like, I think.
But I feel like you have to take Eli out and look at the other 4 picks in comparison because, like, if first pick is like a given, like he's going to go.
True. Yeah.
So I think you have a better team.
I mean, I'm not going to say I don't. No, I'm just kidding.
So that's my selection. Obviously, everyone who's watching, let us know whether it's.
I mean, it really matters what the people think. That's what really matters.
So you are the people, whether you're watching or listening to this episode. Go on our social media, vote on those polls that we'll put out when this episode comes out. Vote in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know who has the better team.